Now I want to show you a really simple stand that I made just so that I could do my sculpting on a nice flat surface, but that was in the same plane as me looking at it. Now it's a little bit difficult to explain what I mean by that, but when I'm standing here doing my sculpting and I'm working on a piece that's going to end up on the wall, I want to make sure that I'm looking at it in the same perspective that I will be looking at it when it's actually mounted and displayed. Now I'm going to use, just for an example here, this little guy. This is a just for fun face that I made a couple of years ago, and in order to make him, I put my armature down on a very low table and stood over it so that I could get down like this, you know, so that I could actually be seeing him straight on. That way, when it was all done, I could put him up on the wall and it would look the same way that I thought it looked when I was sculpting it. Now, you don't have to do this way. You can use a low table if you want to. I'm getting a little bit too old for that. It hurts. So let me show you how this was done. It was really, really easy. It probably took about 20 minutes. Went out to the garage and found a couple more pieces of scrap lumber. This is a 1x10, which means it's going to be 9.5 inches wide. This is going to be a perfect size for small faces. If you want to make bigger faces, you'll want to go try to find a scrap of plywood. You want at least 3 inches on the edges so that you have plenty of room to work. If you don't have any plywood hanging around, you can usually get scraps at the lumber yard. They have offcuts that they'll sometimes even give you for free. So just go in and ask them real nice. Now the first thing you want to do is find out what angle you need. And again, it's going to depend on how tall you are and how tall your table is. And you want it to be so that you're looking straight on, not this way, but straight. So I'm going to say that this is exactly right. Now I've got this 1x3 I happened to find out in the garage, probably 18 inches, maybe 20 inches long. It doesn't really matter how long it is, and I've just now kind of guessed where the middle is. Now I have it kind of in the middle, and I'm just going to put it right here so that when I make this line, it's going to dissect that middle line right in the middle of it. And now I'm just going to go ahead and use my handsaw and cut that right there. So now I got my 3 pieces of wood. And what I need to do first is cover this with plastic. And the easy way to do that is to use some plastic tape. The reason for the plastic is just to keep the clay from really soaking into the wood, and it also makes it really easy to clean off when we take one sculpture off so that we can start another one with a nice clean board. Got a little bit of extra here on the edges, top and bottom. I'm just going to slice those off just to clean it up a little bit. Now for one last thing before we actually put the 3 pieces of wood together, we're going to use some really small screws. These are really little. I think they're about maybe an inch, inch and 1/8 maybe. And the only reason for these are we're going to put them in the board. We're going to put them right up here where we're going to be doing our sculpture. We're going to put them rather close together, and we're going to have them stick out just a little bit. And the purpose is to keep the clay from sliding off the board when it's sitting up at an angle. It'll give the clay something to grab onto. Now what we need to do is put these right there. There's going to be a little bit of a gap at the bottom, and that doesn't make any difference at all. I'm going to show you how to make sure that this still fits exactly the way we need it to. I'm going to go ahead and run some pilot holes just with this little drill bit here. This may keep the screws from splitting the wood, hopefully. And now I'm going to use some longer screws. You want them to be long enough that they'll go through the, what are we calling this? It's called a foot. We're going to go through the foot, and we're going to have some left over so they can actually go into the edge of the face board. And here's where you want that corner right there. This is the back of the face board. You want that corner to be right there on the edge of your foot, the long edge of your foot. So that should work really well. That'll keep, if this sticks up too much right here, if I were to even it up so that the front was even, then this part would make our board rock when it was on the table. That'd be really irritating. So we're going to put it up here. I'm going to put the screws in to start with. Not too far. And that's really all there is to it. Now, one thing I didn't happen to mention when I was making this video in the first place is that the way to tell if your feet are long enough is that they have to be equal at least to the angle here. I think you can see that. If they were like short up here, then when you push on this part of the easel, obviously it's going to tip over, and you don't want to do that. You want it to have really solid on the table. I've only made one thing so far, but I did find out that this works. If you're making faces or any masks or anything that has a flat back, this is going to be really helpful. Hope you enjoyed that. Come on and visit me, ultimatepapermache.com. I'll see you there.